I need you to give me your undivided attention because this is a very, very important YouTube video. And I've called it, I've heard about the next attack. What I'm going to do is share something with you from the dark web. There is the World Wide Web that we use, businesses use, individuals use. There is also what's called the deep web, and then there's what's called the dark web. Now, let me explain to you a little bit about the dark web. The dark web is the hidden part of the internet that's not accessible by regular search engines. It is intentionally kept secret, and you have to have a special software or a special software program to access it. It uses what's called onion routing to protect users from surveillance and also the ability of being tracked. So you'll know up front, this is a real big disclaimer. I have never used or seen or accessed in any way the dark web, but I do know people who have monitored it and are presently monitoring the information on it. They just come on as a person, just as a regular person. And sometimes they'll pose under a different name, but they have been keeping up with what is being said on it. The recent cyber failure, this may surprise you. We get up one morning, and by the way, this happened at the conclusion of the Republican convention in Wisconsin. It was the next day, when all of a sudden, nothing is working. I mean, people are trying to get out, they're going to the airport, and everybody is suddenly stuck because there was a cyber failure. A cyber company called CrowdStrike was doing an update on its antivirus software, and something glitched and went wrong. So there were these massive IT tech outages on July 19th, and some of them actually continued for a couple days, and people had to do all sorts of things. The man that was driving me around, lives here in Cleveland, Tennessee, and he works with a huge company, and they were having to go and actually dump files and do all kinds of things just to get their computers up and going. There was complete travel chaos. There were 5,000 flights grounded. There were banks that could not operate. There were gas stations that could not take credit cards. There were hotels that if you were going to check out, were asking people you have to pay in cash because we cannot access your credit card, and you're not going to be able to leave till we can know that your credit card information is cleared. It was an absolute mess. It took some of my friends 3 days to actually get back home through the delays in the flights, etc. Here's what I've got to tell you, though. The information I'm giving you has come out of the dark web. So to protect this man, I will never tell you what state he's in, what city he's in, or who he is. He said to me personally, sitting at a table, 2 weeks before the CrowdStrike antivirus software failed and caused all of these delays, there was a warning on the dark web to avoid traveling around that time frame because all the majority of planes would be grounded. Well, when he read this, it came from an individual that keeps up with certain things that normally is correct in their information. So he went to some people that were getting ready to travel and said, you do not need to travel on that day. Go earlier, go a couple of days later, but there's going to be a mess that day. And sure enough, exactly as it was predicted in that statement on the dark web, it happened. Now, how did they know that was going to happen would be my question. This company says it was a glitch. It was something that happened. And, people were talking viruses or hackers and all that kind of thing. But how did they know that someone was going to hit this button and it was going to mess up these systems? Now, I'm not a computer expert, so I'm not going into the depth of trying to explain this. Other people on the internet can do that for you. So here's what I want to say. I said, well, what else have you learned? He said, well, the same person who reported that, and it was accurate 2 weeks later, has said the next attack, now everybody pay attention, is going to be the power grid in the United States. Now, the United States has 7,300 power plants. We have 160,000 miles of high voltage lines. We have millions and millions of miles of low voltage lines connecting 145 million customers, all right? Last year, there was 163 different forms of cyber attacks. Many of them, of course, are stopped and prevented. Some of them kind of get through very temporarily, but 163 just last year. The U.S. grid, and I've seen many articles on this, is extremely vulnerable to cyber attacks. So here is the information. I'm just going to throw this out there. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I don't want this to happen. This would not be good to any place where that is affected by it, especially if it's the entire United States. Because you've got to remember, if there's an attack that takes place on the power grid, gas pumps don't work, credit cards don't work, your electricity don't work, your television doesn't work, your computer battery runs out, your phone battery runs out. You could be at a crisis level within 24 to 48 hours and panic with people as well, if they know it's the grid. However, this person has stated from his information, there will be an attack coming somewhere between August to the election. And that there is a belief, I'll not name the country, they have over 1 billion people in population, and you can figure it out, that they may want to do this before the elections to disrupt the American presidential elections. Of course, how can you vote when there's no electricity in the building, when the voting machines have to be plugged in? All this kind of stuff comes into play, computers, etc. So it's complete. It would be a chaos. And people are talking about an October surprise. Maybe this is the October surprise. I don't know. Now, you may be watching this in 2025 and it's old news. If it is, just pass it up. But it will happen some point. If it doesn't happen this year, this is absolutely going to happen. So this is the word I want to give to you. You have to sit and ask yourself, how would my family, my grandbabies and I survive if we had to go 2 to 3 weeks without electricity? Because it's very possible. In some places, it's very possible that an outage could last that long because of a lot of vulnerabilities that I don't want to go into. Number one, you've got to have fresh water to drink. Number two, you've got to have some type of food, whether it's canned food or dried food, but you've got to have some type of food because it'll be chaos at the store. How are you going to buy anything? As a matter of fact, if they don't use credit, you're going to have to go to cash if they use cash. How are they going to transport things? Trucks got to have fuel and they can't get fuel. I mean, I'm telling you, this is a disaster, a major, epic disaster. So what you've got to do is also realize that you're going to have your phone charged, your computer charged at least. You're going to have some way of cooking. They have hot plates, but you have to have have some kind of electricity, whether it's through solar power or whatever. So we have some solar devices. We have some generators that have fuel. In some of our places, we don't talk about that. We won't go into that. We have some personal generators that operate off of solar power. All these kind of things has to be in the back of your mind, because let me just stop and say, if it doesn't happen this year, this will eventually happen. They're talking it in DC. They're having meetings on what do we do when this takes place. So just stop and think on a personal level, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what would you do in the event that this would happen? And then plan a little bit for it. You know, don't go crazy and start hoarding and fill your house up with all kinds of stuff. That's not what we're talking about here, but plan and know and have a plan of knowing what to do. Now, I can tell you, the biggest thing you're probably going to have to do is pray for your kids, because if your kids don't have a way of charging their phones, Lord help us, because that is a part of their body now. It's like their hand. Their phone is their hand. You know, it's their brain. And so you need to talk this over with your kids and just figure out something that you can do. I do have devices myself that are solar powered. You put them in sunlight. You could plug them in. They have a light on them. I've used them before. The power's gone out here before for a couple hours at our office. And I was at my desk and my laptop still had battery, and in fact, I plugged my laptop into one of them and got some battery power. Now, they don't last forever. They may last a day or 8 or 10 hours or whatever. But think about what you need to do, because I do believe this could be an attack that is being planned soon to disrupt the patterns of the American election or something of that nature, or it will be something that will happen in the future without a doubt. So this is what I believe. The Bible said the prudent man sees the evil coming and he prepares. And that's a prudent man or woman. So what I think would be good to do is just say, you know what, let's be prudent. Maybe we'll never need this, but maybe we will. What if we go through a storm that lasts for a week? What if we go through a storm where all the power lines are out or power has been knocked out in our storm? What do we do? Think in that line, okay? And I'm just trying to help people. I'm not an alarmist. I'm not a guy that, tries to get into any conspiracy theories. That's not me. I want to get into the Word and teach you the depth of the truth. but also at times I want to share with you those things that come across our desk. Amen. Thumbs up. Come on, go right now. Thumbs up if you enjoy what we're sharing with you. Subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get up to 1 million subscribers. Why don't you help me do that? Tell your friends and neighbors to watch the YouTube videos, and we certainly would appreciate it. Always have something special coming up, so let it keep playing so you can see what I have to share with you. Thank you. Please give me your undivided attention. Many months ago, I began to hear secular economists announce a new global reset was coming. That's when I heard this phrase in my spirit, the American apocalyptic reset. For several weeks, I woke up early and began receiving a series of stunning prophetic downloads that I penned and now have placed them all in my brand new prophetic book, America's Apocalyptic Reset. This book is a must-read for all Christians, for all of those who love Bible prophecy, for conservative Americans and American patriots. The 19 chapters go extremely deep into exposing the agenda now being secretly plotted and to be publicly forced upon us, the American people, and how we can counter it. I discovered some very stunning ancient prophetic parallels and patterns, some that go back 4,000 years, that are repeating themselves in the United States right now. I deal with America's great Babel reset and the planned persecution of Christians, America's self-curse that will eventually bring judgment upon the nation, the coming Jezebel clash, the woman who will be president, how she should react and wisely resist corrupt governments. I reveal the unique Silicon Valley parallels and also go into the plans to bankrupt, then reset America economically. Also, I talk about how to function when the church must go underground. I received a very unique revelation concerning President Trump and a pattern that's found in history. There's a chapter also that I deal with how did the prophets get it wrong, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the most significant prophetic book in the history of my ministry, especially in the time that we're in. But that's not all. I'm also including my most recent inside information prophetic briefing on 2 audio CDs. It's 2 hours in length, and I will release detailed information that I cannot, and I want you to hear me, I cannot nor will I share this on social media or on television, as absolutely in the climate that we're now in, a lot of this information would be targeted for being blocked and banned if it was made public and not done in this private setting that we're doing it in. These 2 hours contain biblical, political, national, and international revelation and information that I am sure that many of you have not been aware of. It is for truth lovers only. I want you to order right now this prophetic resource package, my brand new book, The Apocalyptic Reset, and the 2-hour prophetic CDs by going online at perrystone.org or calling 1-888-21-BREAD, or write me at Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Now, we're making this available for your donation of $35 or more, and you can request the offer APR-140. That's APR-140. I'm going to unmask the radical globalists and individuals who have set out to oppose and silence Christians, silence patriots, and shut the mouth of conservatives, and we will show you in the book what we can do when we unite together. We are looking forward to getting this into your hands.
If you enjoyed this YouTube content, there's an important website you should know about, perrystone.org. Perrystone.org is an essential resource for the latest books, audiovisual presentations, and digital products from Perry Stone Ministries, resources that cover the same kinds of topics discussed in the program you just watched. Stop in and see all that's available at perrystone.org.